You know, sometimes your problem, you know, in those movies where, I hate those movies, but let's say a person does something wrong and just doubles down on it all the time. And the problem becomes so grave and so like it's unsolvable in a way. It creates such a deep tension and the whole movie is like tense-like and it's very, I hate those kinds of movies. Because I find the guy dumb. I'm like, why don't you just solve the problem? But the guy's dumb, you know? And the problem just gets worse and 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 worse. Imagine we're talking about a problem that's been going on for countless generations. The problem has gotten to a place where it's so big, nobody wants to deal with it. And remember, what I'm talking about is if let's say we call this a primary lesion or a fundamental issue, we're talking about something that creates suffering. In your human experience, there's a profound fundamental suffering. This is what the original sin links to or mentions. I have my terminology of, when I speak about original sin, I'm not talking about Christianity, I'm just talking about that allegory. And when I use primary lesion, it's like the fundamental issue, the one that sparks everything else, the core, the cause of the cause. Well, a lesion creates pain, it creates a dis-ease. A disease creates, it's literally pain. And that pain, unless it's resolved, unless the issue is resolved, it just keeps growing. Every time the pain grows, your actions to make the pain go away intensify. So I call this palliation. The way you try to palliate your pain, that means make the pain go away. That means you didn't solve the problem, you make the pain go away. I have a headache, I take an aspirin. That's a palliative remedy. It means you take the aspirin, the pain seems to disappear, the problem is still there, right? So each time you take a palliation, the pain, the original issue continues to evolve in time, and you go further and further and further away from the solution. What people try to do generally when they're facing a problem, they try to run from the problem. In reality, to solve the problem is to face the problem. But your average person, in fact, it's almost a human instinct. You try to go away from it. But what you don't realize is that you're going away from this. The fundamental problem is inside yourself. So you're running away from yourself. And society, especially the modern world, is the perfect arena to host your party of running away from yourself. And everything that we're doing is just to palliate the pain, and each action takes you further and further and further away from yourself to the point where you're just so lost, you don't even remember that first you were running from somebody, your life is running away from all the time. And that's the norm. And everybody around you is running, and this is normal, so it's no longer running if everybody's running and this is just the way it is. This is what life is about. A life of compensation, a life of palliation. And this is no longer called a palliation or a compensation. This is called pleasure. This is called the purpose of life. Enjoy, be happy. This is called success. You have an entire culture celebrating running away from yourself. Running away from the core dis-ease. So at some point, when you're so far away, first you don't even remember you don't remember anything else. That's all you know. And let's say somebody points or hints towards that direction, towards yourself. This for you is equal to death. To face the issue for you is equal to death. That's why you ran in the first place. So you don't want to die. In your system, I don't want to die. So to face the problem equals death in your system at this stage. So I don't want to face myself. You will not say I don't want to face myself. You don't even know what's going on. This is all unconscious. I don't want to face the issue. I don't want to face the foundational issue because it equals death. I'm going to just keep on running. Not realizing that every step you're taking takes you further and further away from yourself and promotes more suffering, disease, and inevitable death. So let's use Christianity as an example. It's a beautiful example. I'm not speaking from a theological point of view or the theological premises of Christianity. I'm just overseeing, right? So Christianity, which is the religion, which is the science of the times, of the past, try to understand the issue of the human being, right? Human beings are suffering. So they create a narrative and a story. The story of Adam and Eve, and then the whole story of the Jewish people and the transition towards the modern era of Christ. And but what are they saying? That the human beings have a connection with a creator. That connection was jeopardized due to whatever. And since then, human beings are suffering. And they've been suffering and lost in the middle of the desert, going from place to place, never finding their home because they left their home. They got kicked out of their home for whatever reason. And all they're trying to do is go back to that original state where they're at peace. This is literally what they're saying if you remove the theology aspect of it. Once upon a time, human beings were living in peace and paradise, in a paradisiacal state. Something happened that kicked them out. Since then, they're suffering. Everything is hard. Everything is labor. Even giving birth is pain. Everything is suffering and suffering and suffering. And all they're doing is trying to find a way back. There's no way back until grace falls upon them and a solution comes. In the case of Christianity, is Jesus Christ, Lord and Savior, and through His death, we are now reconnected to the original state. Fine. It's not the point. The point is there's an actual understanding of the state of humanity. Well, people are suffering. Humanity is suffering from something that started so long ago. So this is a deep conversation that they're having. It's embedded in Christianity. Now, of course, nowadays everything is at the surface. But if you actually take this in consideration, and you don't just get lost in the story, I believe in Jesus or not Jesus, or that there is a God and God created the world in 6 days and takes a day off. What the fuck is the point? Is Noah, no Noah, and Moses, no Moses, and Solomon, no Solomon. If you put all this nonsense aside and you just look at it as a philosophical treatise, what are they saying? It's deep. They're talking about the fundamental suffering of humanity and the human being, and the fundamental distress between the man and the woman that gave birth to all the suffering that comes after. Now, it's a spin, but that's what they're pointing at. So once again, your average individual does not want to look into those things, doesn't necessarily have the capacity. And that's why they should be led by competent preachers or teachers who've done the work, right? This is what their job is supposed to do, because your average person is busy. They have 2, 3, 4 kids, all kinds of problems. They're divorced. They have their parents. Their lives are a headache. Your average person's life is a mess. No disrespect. A mess in the sense is like so much stress, so much to do, so many problems coming from every direction, and everything is disjointed and there's no order. There's no real sense of direction. You don't know up from down, and you just each thing kind of winging it. Because you watch Sex in the City and Carrie did this, so now you're going to do that. And then guess what happens? More fucking problems. No, next time I'm not going to do what Carrie did. I'm going to do what the slut did. I don't know her name. What's her name? Samantha. I'm going to do what Samantha. I'm going to try Samantha's approach. It's all just problems and problems and problems and problems and problems. There's no intelligence. There's nothing and nobody trusts anybody anymore. Once upon a time you had a problem, go see the priest. At least the Jews, they go see the rabbi. Right? I got a problem, I'm going to go see the rabbi. The rabbi, first of all, he's not a monk. He's married, probably has children. He's a student, and he's been studying Torah and Talmud, which means their ideological beliefs all their lives. And if you're a Jew and you identify to that, so you believe in that frequency, this is yours, you belong to it, and you need some wisdom, you go see that homeboy or his friends. They're all like little Gandalfs or whatnot, and they all hang out together. And they share wisdom and guidance according to their ideological beliefs or their flow. But your average person doesn't buy into any of this anymore. And I'm not saying they're wrong to not buy into it. You know what I'm trying to say? What do you know? You're a priest. What the fuck do you know about having problems with sex? And I don't believe in your premise of life and Jesus and all this fucking nonsense. Then you go see the Muslims with their imams and whatnot. Like people, your average person doesn't trust anybody anymore because they've been lied to so many times, and they have a reason not to want to trust anybody because it's what is everybody trying to do? Sell you their fucking bullshit, sell you their belief system, and make you a member into their thing. And guess what happens? You eventually get disappointed. It works for a couple of minutes and then dissipates, and then you're just lost at sea. This is the reality. People are lost at sea. They don't know what to cling to. And people are desperate and cling to whatever they can, and they kind of like potpourri of whatever they can and hold on, and they kind of like, how are we going to talk about now like examining the core issue of humanity? Like, come on. That's not going to happen with your average person. They don't have time for this. I've made it. It's my life purpose. It's who I am. It's what I've made to do. I've made it in my purpose. This is what I care for. This is just my interest is in that direction. But at the end of the day, your average person is living, let's say it's a woman, let's say she's, 34, maybe has one kid or two, maybe with two different guys. She tried to make it work in the first relationship. It didn't work out. Now, you can say she's a this, she's a that. If you looked at it from her point of view, from a woman, the person's point of view, I assure you, when she got into it, whatever motivated her to do that, she needed support. She needed some kind of energy, some kind of like she wanted to build something for herself or not. I don't know, but she's not coming at it from an evil place. Maybe she's desperate. Maybe she's in a hard place. Maybe she's unconsciously being manipulated by forces. Fine, but there's a person. And she's like everybody else trying to make it happen and make it work for herself. But each action creates more problems and consequences. Add to this life, add to this everyday work, add to this money, add to this taxes, add to the cocoa. You know what cocoa is? The cocoa vid? Yeah. The cocoa. And all like what is it? Like and on top of that you've gotten no real education. Like you've gone through the regular education system, which is what? Deducation. It's not teaching you anything, it's making you dead. So that means you haven't learned anything really, and you don't have an actual understanding of how and what life is. And now if somebody tells you about the idea that how and what life is, you've been so brainwashed by all the commerçants. Does that exist in English? People sell shit, merchants. Merchants who are seeing this as an opportunity to sell you stuff. The more confused you are, the more you're susceptible to buy stuff. The more you have problems, the more you'll buy. The more you have problems, the more you consume. And nothing really works, so you'll consume more. And the more you consume, the less it works, the more desperate you become. The more desperate, the more you'll consume. So from a merchant point of view, this is the best time ever. There's a company called Amazon. Think about it. I got nothing against Amazon, I'm just saying. See what I mean? So this is very good for business if you're in the business of selling stuff. Because people are lost. And then you have to navigate through all of this. And then what does the New Age teaches you? The New Age is everywhere now. It's your own, find your own way. Everyone has their own. It's your path, you, right? Fine. I'm not in the mood to talk about the New Age. This is what they're teaching you. So they've just removed the fact that there's an actual reality, there's actual dharma, meaning a way. It's not objective. Excuse me, it's not subjective. There's a way. It's there. It's happening every moment of the day. Why does the sun get up and go down? Why does the moon wane and wax? Why is all of this happening? You may not have an answer, but an answer certainly exists, and you're part of that story. That's all I can say. And that has been removed. You don't even, it's not even spoken to you so that you maybe are curious to discover it, whether through books or most importantly internally. No, it's like, no, none of that exists. There is no such thing as a fundamental truth or fundamental reality. This is a lie. Each one has his own truth. So anything goes now. You can wake up tomorrow and say, I'm a vampire. That's who I am. I'm a mermaid. Anything goes. Who am I to argue with a person who believes that they're an angel? Okay, well, right. Well, this is my experience that my brain says my mind says I'm an angel. So I am now on the path of the angels. Good, whatever. Like, right? And we're at a place where I had to learn this the hard way as I grew up and became more mature. I'm like, well, at first I kind of like want to battle with nonsense, right? Now I learn, I'm like, no, shut the fuck up, man. I'm like, yeah, shut the fuck up. No, I don't care. You're an angel, you're a doggy, you're whatever, dude. Whatever. Just do it over there. Whatever. Right? Because even that, like, it's over. You could be prosecuted. Like I was aggressed. I'm like, you're like spanking yourself and then you're wondering why your ass is red. And you go to the doctor and he gives you a pill. I'm just telling you, like, I just held your arm. I shouldn't have done that. My bad. It was not for me to interfere. So I don't interfere. But you understand what I'm trying to say? So in our modern world, this is how it's going now. That's not even clear thinking. Like what I'm saying is clear thinking. Look around you. There's nature. You may not understand nature because it's unfathomable. Fine. But clearly you can understand that the sun goes up and the sun goes down. The moon goes up. The moon goes down. It waxes and wanes. You can clearly see that there's seasons. And you can clearly see that no matter what happens in our stupid world, it just keeps on ticking and never stops. It doesn't even care. And it's been going on like this for God knows when, and it will continue for God knows when. So if you stop for 2 seconds, you're like, well, clearly this must be going somewhere. And clearly there's a direction. Clearly there's a path. Because it's showing you there's a path. This is the beat and the clock of reality. So this is not like rocket science. So obviously we're all in the same boat, on the same path. Not everyone has their own path. And it could be whatever the hell you want. This is only possible in the zoo. And that's how the zoo got you. You were already sick and confused, and the zoo said, great, you want to be a superhero? Be a superhero. Let me create the arena where you can project your fantasy and live it. And in a minute, I'm going to give you all these goggles and that high-tech shit, and I'm going to put it in your brain, and it's going to be so real, you're going to be whatever the hell you want. Fantastic. I have nothing against that. I'm saying, well, what does that have to do with reality? You see what I mean? But can you argue with a person who's deluded by their own minds? You can't. So you respect them, and if I can help you, I gladly will. But you know, but it's still, there is a reality, and it's not even spoken about anymore. And if somebody dares to speak about this is either a fundamentalist and a this or a that, and it's like, well, okay, so good luck. People are scared of these subjects because they're so deep and they confront you. It's like, well, look at your life. Who am I to judge you? I'm nobody to judge you, genuinely, honestly, from the bottom of my heart. But we can talk, and this is what I'm trying to do. I just want to talk. I'm like, well, look at your life. Is that all there is to life, or shouldn't there be more? And how much more can I extract from this zoo system? It's for you to decide. I'm clear about myself and my path and my life, right? But for those who are still on their way trying to figure things out, you know, well, it's good that you hear somebody make you question you or ask you questions and make you think. Because it's rare nowadays. It's unfortunate, but it's rare. So at the end of the day, I'm a teacher. I'm not a salesperson. I hate sales. I've been in sales when I was younger. I'm very good at sales. I don't want to sell. I'm a teacher. So I teach. That's what I do. If you like what I'm saying and you want to learn more, you can learn some more. But at the end of the day, I'm a teacher, and part of being a teacher is to help you think, reflect, consider things. Look at things in a different perspective. Shake your position and offer you another perspective so that it can come to a greater perspective. And I hope I'm doing my job well, and I hope it's giving you food for thought.